know nothing about horses.
You're getting a crash course.
Ryan Bingham plays Walker on Yellowstone, and he plays him well. His character is good on a horse, good with a rope, and not afraid of a day's worth of work. In reality, the actor is a singer and a songwriter who in 2021 put his home in Los Angeles on sale for $2.4 million. Despite that, Ryan Bingham is a real cowboy. He grew up in Hobbs, New Mexico, near West Texas, and by the age of 17, he was riding around chasing any rodeo he could compete in. He was an experienced bull rider who once lost 2 teeth headbutting a bull. Horses were his life before music, and because of that, he's able to help other actors with their technique. He's the real deal.
Jimmy, played by Jefferson White, is not just acting when he acts lost around horses. On Yellowstone, Jimmy's character is comically naive to this world. That's not just acting.
I had never ridden a horse before Yellowstone. I had never touched a horse before Yellowstone. Before we started shooting the first season, we had several weeks to practice. We are surrounded by brilliant trainers, brilliant horses. It's a sort of best case scenario if you're a moron who has never touched a horse before, which is what I am. So we really were given every opportunity to learn as much as we could, and still fail constantly. 4 years later, we're still very much learning. It's a lifelong pursuit.
We'll talk about Cole Hauser a little later, but several years ago, the man behind Rip Wheeler told IMDb that after Cowboy Camp, Jefferson's butt was so chapped they had to put Band-Aids all over him. He's definitely a fake cowboy.
Jen Landon plays Teeter, and this is actual footage of her from her Instagram page, as well as some photos. Looks legit, right? Don't be fooled. Jen grew up in Los Angeles as the daughter of a famous actor, Michael Landon, who starred in Little House on the Prairie. She also missed Cowboy Camp, but when she was asked to get on a roping horse on her first day of filming, she nailed it. Talking to Decider, she said, quote, "The day I had to be in the middle of the cows was the scariest. I expected movie cows, and I didn't expect to be thrown into a chute with just regular farm animals." Jen Landon isn't afraid to admit she's not a real cowboy.
We've got several more real and fake cowboys coming up, including Rip, Lloyd, Ryan, and John Dutton. I'd like to take a moment to ask you to consider subscribing if you love Yellowstone content, because we do it weekly here. Then thumbs up this video if you've learned something, or correct us in the comments section if we get it wrong. Who's your favorite Yellowstone cowboy?
One of the most legit cowboys on the show is the show's creator, Taylor Sheridan. He plays Travis, and the actor grew up on a ranch in Cransville Gap, Texas. Riding a horse is second nature to him, and in fact, he even brought some of his own horses to the shoot for filming. A website called Horsey Hoofs reports that Sheridan's family lost the ranch in the early 90s, so he went to a nearby ranch and got a job for a glorious $400 a month. That's the thing about real cowboys. The Washington Post reports that there are less than 1 million of them in America, and on average, they make about $30,000 a year. Taylor knows that all too well. He definitely is a real cowboy.
I think we all know Kevin Costner, who plays John Dutton, and Kelly Riley, who plays Beth Dutton and grew up in England, are not real cowboys. But what about Cole Hauser? He's not a cowboy, but he's as close as you can get. Hauser grew up on a ranch in Oregon and spent a lot of time on horseback. Still, he's sore for a week every time he returns for filming. Once a cowboy does not mean always a cowboy.
On Yellowstone, Jake Ream and Ethan Lee are played by Jake Ream and Ethan Lee, 2 men brought to Yellowstone to help with the horses and the cowboys. They were then given roles later. Both men were just going to be trainers or stuntmen, but things developed, and now there isn't an actor on the show that doesn't credit both with helping them through Cowboy Camp and 5 seasons. Jake and Ethan are 100% cowboy.
What about Ryan, played by Ian Bowen? He grew up on a livestock ranch and learned to team rope with his uncle in Montana. He'd quickly start acting, but riding horses and roping came easy. Laramie, played by Hassie Harrison, tells a similar story, so we'll certify both as real cowboys.
Perhaps the best-known cowboy of them all is Lloyd, played by Forey J. Smith. Now in his 60s, Forey started riding and competing in rodeos at age 8. Then he became a stuntman after a bad fall from a horse before ending back up on the rodeo circuit, kind of. The funny thing is, he's too beloved of an actor to lose, so Taylor Sheridan won't let him do his own stunts anymore. Still, he's definitely a real cowboy.
For Addison Hager, I'm Billy Dukes for Taste of Country. Thanks for watching, and thanks for subscribing.